Why I'm here right now is to discuss about the fake news coming out about Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Not just the misinformation that we're talking about when it comes to Western mainstream media, when they're, as I said earlier, when they tell us that his military unalived this many civilians, or when they tell us that, as I said earlier, Saint Traoré, like as if he has a cult. And currently, in 2025, we all know that Captain Ibrahim Traoré is a hot topic, like hot, piping hot, not just in Africa, but globally, all over the world. Not just on social media, but also on mainstream media. Western mainstream media, whether they report the right thing or skew it or misinform or call him Saint Traoré's cult, which is another topic. I'll discuss it maybe at the end of this video. I saw an article on Financial Times, I believe, and the headline was Saint Ibrahim Traoré and his cult. What? Like what? Anywho, we'll talk about that later on. But why I'm here right now is to discuss about the fake news coming out about Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Not just the misinformation that we're talking about when it comes to Western mainstream media, when they're, as I said earlier, when they tell us that his military unalived this many civilians, or when they tell us that, as I said earlier, Saint Traoré, like as if he has a cult, and all the things that we've discussed. I think I did a story. Yes, I did share a story about mainstream media and how they're trying to change the narrative about Ibrahim Traoré. That's not what we're talking about today, fam. We're talking about our own people. Some of them, I don't believe they're our own people, because behind the scenes, some of the things that they've been saying, I have a huge question mark in regards to their intention. But what I want to talk about is the positive stories coming out about Ibrahim Traoré. The reason why I did the air quote is because it's not really true. Some of the stories, although they're positive, although people are sharing them and millions and hundreds and thousands of views are on those videos or articles, it's not actually the truth. And there's a reason why I want to talk about it, because although it might seem harmless, we might say, even though it's fake news, it's still a positive news about him. It doesn't matter. I beg to differ, fam. I think this could have an impact, and I'm concerned because the same stories that we're talking about right now, and they're not true and they're being circulated, although they're painting Traoré in a positive light, they are still going to impact how the mainstream media or these Western nations can use this. They can come up with a scheme or a report or a documentary targeting this fake news. Maybe they're even the ones that came up with them, and they'll start telling us that all this news that you've been hearing about Ibrahim Traoré is not really true, is really fake, which is not accurate. This is not true. This is what they will try and do, and that's why I want to speak against it. Why? You might ask, why do you care so much if it's a positive news? It is because it can be used against us as well. Like the same way they're like, it came from truth, right? Let me give you an example. Okay, so how many times did Captain Ibrahim Traoré escape attempted coup d'etats? You might say 12, 13, 14 even. I've seen reports saying that and claiming that. But you might be surprised to know that, at least according to the government of Burkina Faso, his own government, it is 5. They've only accepted or admitted to 5. So if it is 5 and the news out there is 12, 13, 14, although it might seem harmless, that's not true. That's not accurate. So what I'm afraid of is for this enemy to come in and say, look, all the stories that you're hearing about him are lies because this 13, 14 didn't happen. They'll try to debunk that story. They'll come and tell our people that, look, all the stories that you're hearing about him is a lie because they're saying that he has escaped 12 coup attempts, but that's not true. And they'll never tell you that he actually did escape 5 or he was victorious over those 5 because people came together and defended him and they believed in him, right? But they will focus on the lie. They'll try to highlight just the lies and completely disregard that it was based on truth, facts. It's just some people multiplied it, made it sound more, doubled it, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? So those are the things that I'm talking about. When you look at it from a bigger scale, you might say it's not maybe that big, that deep, but they can make it deep. That's what I'm saying. The truth is more than enough and more than positive, more than inspiring. We're okay, we're happy with knowing the facts, the actual facts about the story. It's incredible that this young man, within 2 years, almost 3 years, he was able to do all this, right? All this, even though there are powers that are working against him. And the attempted coup d'etats, how do you think they come about? Right? Because he has enemies, because they're not happy with what he's trying to do for his own people. So what I'm trying to say is, when you hear stories, you have to double check. You have to take it with a pinch of salt. You also have to do your own research. Nowadays, with AI, I literally watched a video of the new Pope making a speech about Captain Ibrahim Traoré. That's AI, fam. Go do your research. And it had hundreds of thousands of views, and people thought it was real, and people were sharing it with me, telling me, look, this happened, do a story on it. And I'm like, no, that's not true. That's AI. Someone created that. The Pope actually never said that about Traoré, right? Or the story about a spy that was caught in Burkina Faso. There were spies that were caught, and we've reported on them before. But this specific story that came out just a few months ago was not accurate, because one, the government of Burkina Faso didn't release any statement, and they didn't say that it happened. Even if it happened, if Ibrahim Traoré's team is not saying that it did happen, why would we run with the story, right? We have to double check. We have to make sure that we're talking about real scenarios here. I think it's extremely important that we stick to the truth, and I am a believer of the truth is more than enough. We don't need to spice it up. We don't need to add things to it. We don't need to exaggerate it. I think it could be used against us in the future, and these people can concoct or come up with a story to make us believe that it was a lie all this time, when in fact there are so many truths. But some people, for some reason, although I understand some it's to get views, and some, who knows what their agenda and their intentions are behind the scenes, right? So let's be cautious is my point. Like, whenever you hear stories, good, celebrate, be happy, but make sure that it's based on the truth. Go to the Burkina Faso official, the government's official page, social media, websites, and confirm. Double check, or better yet, have someone on the ground in Burkina Faso that can confirm or deny these claims. That's important in my opinion. And then if everything seems to be in French and you're not a French speaker, take that story and put it in AI or this translation apps, and then read about it. That's my advice. In my opinion, I think we need to be cautious. But then again, there are more things that we can worry about. This is not like the biggest issue, but it's still an issue, because I don't believe that we should be sharing and resharing stories that are not true. One other story that I forgot, I recently came across, and it had hundreds of thousands of views, so people were sharing it and watching it thinking it's true. The title was something like Captain Ibrahim Traoré kneeling down in front of like a prophet or something, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's clearly AI, but some people believe it. And let's just be cautious is my point. But at the end of the day, we support our brother. We're here with him to support him and to give voice, lend voice, and to come together because we believe in what he's trying to do, is the bottom line. Anywho, fam, thank you for watching. I hope you got my point, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. It's coming from a place where I want us to protect the truth, because the truth is enough, and he's done enough.
General Assimi Goïta of Mali, the president of Mali, has embarked on building a gold refinery in Mali, which is going to refine their gold on site in Mali. They are not going to be exporting their gold as soon as the refinery is set up. And this initiative is between the Malian government and the Russian company called Yadran Group, right? And the production capacity of this refinery is going to be 200 tons per year. That is 200 tons per year. And the revenue that the Malian government is going to make from this refinery is going to be $130 billion per year, right? This is massive, guys. You have no idea what Sahel is going to become in just a few years. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. And the Malian government is going to have 62% of the revenues that will be derived from this refinery. This is a great move. Kudos to the government of Mali. Kudos to General Assimi Goïta. This is the definition of what we have been talking about. Assertion of economic sovereignty, right? Being on top of your economy, not depending on some aid that is going to come from some Western countries or whatever. So now, guys, let me go back into what people have been saying. Some people have been saying that, oh, Mali has run away from France and they have been enslaved again by the Russians. Let's go back into reality, right? Barrick Gold and all these other companies that have been in Mali, do you know how much they pay as revenues to Malian government? They pay $1 billion to $1.4 billion per year. And how much do they make from gold in Mali? They make over hundreds of billions of dollars. And how much do they give the government? $1 billion. And so Mali has the opportunity to venture with a group that is going to give them 62% of $130 billion. And people are coming to talk trash, saying that Mali is being recolonized by Russia. I don't know how some people are. But hey, we are not going to fall for that distraction. Ahead, General Assimi Goïta, we support this initiative. This is a proof that you are on top of your game. Another very important point to note here is this refinery is going to refine all the gold that is being produced by different mining companies in Mali. Do you know what this means? This means that Mali is going to be in full control of every single gold that all these other companies are producing and what they get as return, and they will be able to make the correct taxing and get the right revenues from what these guys have been making. For past so many years, so many decades, these guys have been ripping Mali off, and right now they have had the opportunity, not just Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, they have had the opportunity to put their eyes on what these multinational Western companies have been doing in their country, giving them tough times. And just to let you know before I wrap it up, Mali has taken full surveillance, or call it full control, supervision of Barrick Gold. They have not taken the company, but they have placed their officials to know exactly what comes in, what goes out, so that they will be able to get the right taxes, the right revenues from these companies. That is what the Malian government has been doing, and that is the reason why the West wants to take them out at all costs. Why? Because they have been a pain in their asses. That is just what the AES leaders have been to these guys. And so that's the reason why they are doing everything possible to take them out. But hey, it is not going to work because, as we said, they are standing for their people and for their people alone. And this time around, the people of Africa is standing with them, for them, and by them. What is treason? I guess we should better find out about that before we get into what we want to talk about today. Treason is a crime of betraying one's country. It usually involves actions that seriously threaten the nation's security or stability, such as waging war against your own country, helping enemies of the country, especially during wartime, spy, attempting to overthrow the government, and so on and so forth. That is treason. So guys, a Tanzanian opposition leader has been charged with treason. What did he do? We are going to find out in a little bit. My name is Archive. All I do here is bring you updates in and around our beautiful continent, Africa. If this is your first time coming across my page, you want to follow me because you would keep having these updates. Like the video, drop your comments in the comment section about what we are going to discuss about. Watch the video to the end. I really advise you to do that so you would understand how this Africa is beginning to get crazy. Our leaders, the kind of leaders we have today in power. And also do me a favor to share this message to as many as possible, because we need not allow these guys to completely crush us before our eyes open. We need to share with as many as possible so that everyone would know what is going on. So as I was saying, a Tanzanian opposition leader by the name Tundu Lissu was arrested on April 9th and has been charged with treason. What is the crime of treason he committed? They are saying that the government is charging him with treason for addressing a rally and calling for electoral reforms. I don't know if you guys are understanding me very well. I'm saying that this treason offense that they are charging Tundu Lissu with is because he addressed a rally and he called for electoral reforms in Tanzania, because they are going to have the elections come October 2025. And so his crime is for calling for electoral reform. In the midst of all this, what is really painful about this is he is in prison, not even custody. He is in prison, and he is saying that the kind of prison where he is where people who have been sentenced to death are being held. And he is still a suspect. He is still to be judged, but they have already sent him to prison, to where those who would be sentenced to death are. Another very painful and sad thing is he has not been granted access to his lawyers. He is not permitted to see his lawyers, especially in private. They have not given him the chance for his lawyers to be able to defend him. He is forced to defend himself. Can you imagine that? So he is going to be his own lawyer to try to defend himself out of this situation. And by the way, in Tanzania, from 2024 to now, there have been series of abductions, kidnappings, disappearances of people who tried to criticize the government or call out on government actions that they think do not make sense. A lot of people have been abducted. They have not been seen anymore. People have been kidnapped. People have disappeared, nowhere to be found. And this brings me right back to what happened to the former leader of this same Chidema party in Tanzania. This guy was kidnapped, beaten, and doused with acid. And he lost his life. People could barely figure out his face. This is how terrible, this is how disappointing, this is how evil, wicked some of our African governments are. And now my take on this is, guys, I want to first of all say here that when the Tanzanian president took power, I was one of those who were very happy about that. Why? Because I felt like, we have had the chance to have another African woman to lead us in Africa, right? I don't see Tanzania as different from any other African country. So anything that happens in any African country, I think that it's for the good of Africa as large. So I was very happy to see a woman to lead an African country amongst the few who have had the opportunity to lead as female presidents, right? But I'm really disappointed that this is coming from her government. Please, ma'am, I'm really trying hard. I'm trying really hard to believe that you are not behind all what is going on or what is happening. But at the same time, I think it is very important and necessary to call your attention. If truly you are not aware of all what is going on, but I think right now you are aware. And you need to prove to the people of Tanzania and to the people of Africa who we are, because all we want is to see you succeed. But you need to prove to us that truly you have not been aware of what has been going on, that you have not been aware of these killings, these deaths, torture, disappearances, and all of that. If you can help prove to us by taking serious punitive measures and making sure that you guarantee total freedom of speech in the country, then trust me, the people of Africa are going to be very proud of you. But truly speaking, that is the one thing we expect to see you do. Please keep a legacy that Africans will live to remember you for. Remember, whatever you do for Tanzania is not just for Tanzania alone, it's for the entire African. So we are calling on you to really sit up and do something about all these killings, all these brutalities. How can someone be charged for treason because he called for electoral reforms? I think it doesn't really make sense. And so please do something about it. Thank you so much, guys, for this. I don't know what you think about this. Go to the comment section, drop your thoughts, and let me know what you think. And those from Tanzania, help us. If you have more insight about what's going on, please reach out and let's have a conversation. See you in my next one.